Title of the message is I've Got a Mansion. I took the chorus of the song and broke it into 5 little parts, and we're just going to go through, hit them point by point, and hopefully it's a blessing to you tonight. I'm not in Ezekiel. Yeah, there we go. I won't have you stand tonight. Just read these few verses, pray, and then we'll just kind of jump into it. But John 14, 1 through 3 says, "Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also." And just verse 4, "And whither I go ye know, and the way ye know." Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Lord, I'm nervous tonight. I pray that you would just calm my nerves right now. I need your Holy Spirit. I need your comfort. I need your guidance. Lord, I don't want any glory or praise or honor from this message. Lord, I need this to be all from you. I pray that hearts would be open tonight. I pray that the words that I say through your power, I pray that they would just be quick, and I pray that they would move through these people's hearts. Lord, I know all of them well, and I pray that you would just let this night be, again, just honoring and glorifying to your name. We just pray all these things in your name. Amen. I got to thinking about just this mansion, this topic of having this place, this guarantee of a home in heaven. And it's a simple thought tonight, just kind of going through these. The first section of this chorus is, I've got a mansion. Jesus says, in my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And I don't remember if it was pastor or somebody else I heard it from. But if you think about it, when God created all of the earth, like everything, the seas, the skies, the birds, us, He spoke it into existence. He didn't necessarily use His hands. He just breathed it out of His mouth. But He says here, I go to prepare a place for you. That implies He's actually physically He's building that place for us. He's going above and beyond just talking. He's also using His spiritual, His godly hands to build that place for us. And it's incredible to think that our God is going to prepare that heavenly home for us. But just a side point, it says in verse 1, "Let not your heart be troubled." My mind always, I try not to be perceived like this, but I worry a lot, more than I should. And I'm sure, whether we would admit it or not, all of us in here have some form of worry about just little, tedious things. But 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. Verses 13 through 18, it's just a reminder of the fact that no matter what happens in this life, we have this resurrection, this plan that the Lord has already put out for us, that if we die before the rapture or we're alive during the rapture, we have that promise of heaven above. But just to read this in verse 13, "But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Jesus will God bring with Him. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep. For the Lord Himself shall descend from heaven, not an angel, but the Lord Himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God. And the dead in Christ shall rise first." What a sight that's going to be. Just to see all of these people that have gone on before us rise, and we get to, some of us might get to watch that. In verse 17, "Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together," not individually. I kind of wonder, this is one of those things, I wonder, are we going to see everybody else go up at the same time, those that are around us? Like some that maybe are in a plane, and you get to see just everybody go up together. It continued in the verse here, "To meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. Wherefore comfort one another with these words." It's comforting to know that the Lord's coming back for us. All the wickedness and evil and all this nonsense that goes on around us, it's comforting to know that no matter what happens, the Lord is coming back for us. So I've got a mansion. And then number 2, just over the hilltop. Turn to James chapter 1. This is kind of where I wanted to focus a little bit tonight. Just over the hilltop. There are a lot of issues that are going around in this world, and people that we know are having problems. And I think of the Zare family tonight. Madeline was telling me about their situation, and I don't know what kind of relation or what situation her parents are in, what kind of severity of situation they're dealing with, but just to be in Zoe's shoes, I don't envy that, but I also know how it feels to see your parents go through something. But that's just one of the many problems that we can have in our lives. But it's just over the hilltop, that mansion is. Just think, it's not a mountain. It may seem like a mountain, but in all reality, it's just a hilltop. But in James chapter 1, it's very simple, and my favorite word is in this chapter, in this verse here, verse 3 and 4. My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh what? Patience. But let what? Patience. Have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. Nothing, well, I'll rephrase that. Very little in this life that is good and from the Lord comes without just a little bit of patience. Right. Grandma and Grandpa, they waited 2 or 3 years before your house was finally built, or more? And even not important things, like when I got Dad and I's Nova, we got that painted. It took 6, or not even 6, 3 or 4 months, and I was agonized. The wait was terrible, but that was just a measly thing. Think about other things that people have to wait day by day for their food or their water. And in this country, people like us, we don't even comprehend sometimes the issues, the real life issues that people have. But at the end of the day, it's just a hilltop. And the thought crossed my mind of there's a lot of people that question God as to why things happen to us. And the number one reason is sin, to just start off. But the other thing is I was thinking about it actually in biology class this past week. One of the few good things I actually get out of that class. Don't even get me started on that. But how many of us in here, maybe not actually work out, but just exercise, whether it's running around with kids, raise your hand, anybody that does any sort of physical exertion throughout the day? Okay, you're breaking down your muscles, right? Okay, if you're going to put yourself through that little bit of pain, let's say you're working out, you're tearing your bicep, your abs, whatever, but you're trying to break that down so that way when it grows and you hopefully eat the right food and drink the right liquids, they're going to grow back bigger than they were before, right? If we start small and the Lord puts us through something, and if we are diligent in His Word, if we eat the right food, if we stay in His Word while we're going through that trial and we're in that downtime, then we'll come out bigger and better than what we were before. And another thing that I thought about in the same topic of physical fitness is when we all hit a certain age, we all have the same, well, not all of us, but each individual has the same number of muscle cells that they'll have for the rest of their life. We all have the same faith in Jesus Christ that all of the rest of us have, right? So we all start with the same thing, but we have to work at it and keep getting bigger and stronger in our faith in the Lord. But we all start with the same thing. Now, we all might look a little different, but we can all have the same opportunity to grow more and more in the Lord. So I've got a mansion just over the hilltop, and then number 3, in that bright land where we'll never grow old. Turn to Revelation 21. I know a lot of people that have health problems, and this verse gives me hope that when they go on and when they pass away, I can have hope and assurance that They won't be in pain anymore. They won't have to deal with the physical infirmities of this life. Revelation 21, 1 through 4. We are going to be done early tonight. You guys are going to love me. Revelation 21, 1 through 4. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them. What an honor. Just to think that we're going to actually, after however many years we all spend on this earth, we are going to spend eternity with God in person, in the Spirit. We're not going to have to... Prayer is great, don't get me wrong, but to be able to see our faith and not have to be like my probably long-distance cousin Doubting Thomas, who had to see Jesus in the flesh/spirit after he had died, and he came back, and the pastor was talking about it. Thomas didn't even have to put his hands in his side or his arms. He just saw him, and he said, I don't remember what he said, but he said something along the lines of, my Lord and my God. We're going to get to see that someday, and in that bright land where we'll never grow old. But in verse 4, it's so encouraging. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. All of the things that we will have gone through in this life, whether it's just death of loved ones or physical pain or mental pain or even spiritual pain, the Lord is going to take all of that away. And we can be just blessed by the fact that we can know that no matter what happens, we have this to look forward to. And sometimes I think we get caught up in life. I know I do. I'm still young. There's still lots of things I want to do in life. And sometimes I think we get a little distracted, maybe, by just day-to-day things. But I want us to try, especially nowadays as we look forward to maybe the rapture happening sooner rather than later, I want us to, including myself, I know I need to work on this. We need to be more focused on heavenly things than earthly things. We need to be, spiritually minded. I had verses about this. Where are they? What? Yeah, that's actually what it was. Thanks. See, that's my youth pastor. Thanks, man. Yeah, that. Would you read my notes or something? Thanks. All right. We're on a roll now. Colossians 3, 1 through, I think it was 4. If ye then be risen with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ sitteth on the right hand of God. Set your affection, not affections, affection, on things above, not on things on the earth. For ye are dead, and your life is hid with Christ in God. When Christ, who is our life, shall appear, then shall ye also appear with him in glory. We're strangers to this world. This earth is not our home anymore. If you're saved tonight, your home is in heaven. We're just walking through, and I thought about it, and this earth, this life is our one opportunity that we get to fully and entirely serve the Lord with all of our heart, without actually seeing Him. He gives us an opportunity to have full 100% faith in Him and have prayer and have this Word and be able to just serve Him in any way that He calls us to, whether it's preaching or evangelism or being a missionary or doing the nursing home for those ladies. I would hope that if for some reason I wound up in a nursing home someday, that a young man or a man would be willing to come and do devotions for me once a month and bring the other older men together in that. But I thank all of you for your service for the Lord. So we have that third point, in that bright land where we'll never grow old. And it leads into number 4. And someday yonder we will never more wander. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 1 through 8. Doing all right tonight? Amen. All right. They're putting up with me, Pastor. All right. 2 Corinthians 5. I think that's the right one. Yep. For we know that if our earthly house, of this tabernacle were dissolved, we have a building of God, an house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. For in this we groan, earnestly desiring to be clothed upon with our house, from which is from heaven. If so be that, being clothed, we shall not be found naked. For we that are in this tabernacle do groan, being burdened, not for that we would be unclothed, but clothed upon, that mortality might be swallowed up of life. Now he that hath wrought us for the selfsame thing is God, who also hath given unto us the earnest of the Spirit. Therefore we are always confident, knowing that, whilst we are at home in the body, we are absent from the Lord. For we walk by faith, not by sight. We are confident, I say, and willing rather to be absent from the body and to be present with the Lord. This just tags right along with what I was saying earlier. We need to be heavenly minded. While yes, there are things we need to do in this life. We have to work. We have to, function on a day-to-day, take care of crazy kids, whatever it is. The Lord has called us to live this life, and I think that we should live it to the fullest for Christ, not so much live it to the fullest for earthly pleasure. We need to be, again, just heavenly minded and looking forward to that relationship in heaven that we can have with the Lord. Hebrews 13:14 says, For here have we no continuing city, but we seek one to come. Are we truly seeking that new heavenly home, or are we comfortable here in our easy chairs on earth? And we have to have a heavenly mindset. Was it 1 John chapter 1? Just make sure that was the right thing here. 1 John chapter 1, 15 through 17. Yep. Or actually, I'm sorry, 1 John 2, 15 through 17. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man loveth the world, the love of the Father is not in him. That correlates with ye cannot serve God and mammon in Matthew, I believe it is. For all that is in this world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. And that just is a testimony of probably 80% of the problems that we have in this life are of our flesh, are of our own nature. Verse 17, And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of God abideth forever. It's God's will for us to get saved, amen. He wants to have that relationship with us. He can't, unfortunately, make us do it, because then that's not the free will that He has promised mankind. But He wants to have that relationship with us. And again, we just need to be, I guess the main push tonight is to be heavenly minded. But then the last point I have here is just again, number 5, but walk on streets that are purest gold. We'll go back to Revelation 21 and verses 9 through 21. Just read this and a couple more things to say and we'll be done. And there came unto me one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials full of the 7 last plagues, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show thee the bride, the Lamb's wife. And he carried me away in the Spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God, having the glory of God, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal, and had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. And on the east 3 gates, and on the north 3 gates, and on the south 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the name of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And he that walked with me had a golden reed to measure the city, and the gates thereof, and the wall thereof. And the city lieth foursquare, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. And he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is, of the angel. And the building of the wall of it was of jasper, and the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass. And the foundations of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third chalcedony, the fourth an emerald, the fifth sardonyx, the sixth sardius, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth topaz, the 10th chrysoprase, the 11th jacinth, the 12th an amethyst. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every several gate was of one pearl, and the city, and the street of the city was pure gold, as it were transparent gold. This is a picture of this new city that we get to live in, and I don't know if there will be street names in heaven, like David King Street or something like that, but we'll have a mansion in that new city, and we have that to look forward to. But just to close tonight, if you'll go back to John chapter 14, I would assume most, or if not all, are saved here tonight. But if you're not saved, you might ask, how do I get a title or a deed to one of these mansions? Well, Jesus didn't leave these disciples hanging. In John 14, verses 5 through 7, or just 5 through 6. Thomas saith unto him, Lord, we know not whither thou goest, and how can we know the way? And this is the answer for him. Jesus saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. The only way that we can have an eternal home, an eternal mansion in heaven with the Lord is to go through Jesus Christ and ask Him to come into your heart and save your soul. Simple message tonight. Just be heavenly minded. I would ask that we would try and focus on that this week and going through the Hardman meetings coming up. But we'll all stand. We'll have a brief invitation.